The details hidden in the New Yorker cover drawing of Senator Obama and his wife Michelle aren't the story. The outrage over the New Yorker cover isn't the story either. But tonight, in our fourth story on the countdown, the potential consequences of the clearly meant to be satirical cartoon are the story. First, the details. By now, you have no doubt heard and very likely seen the cover of the magazine, which depicts a turban and tribal dress-wearing Obama in the Oval Office, fist-bumping his AK-47-toting, combat boot-wearing, mightily afroed wife. Above the fireplace hangs a portrait of Osama bin Laden. In the fireplace burns an American flag. All of the scare tactics and misinformation about Barack Obama now available in one handy 8.5 by 11 location. This afternoon, editor of The New Yorker, David Remnick, defended the cover as on-target satire.
I don't think this satire went too far. It's all about accusations of Obama being insufficiently patriotic or soft on terrorism, or Michelle Obama somehow being a 60s-style revolutionary. All this is nonsense. And that's what the cover is trying to say, that it's nonsense. That it is an attack on those who would manipulate and lie about him, and we are holding a mirror up to that.
Neither campaign sees it the way Remnick does. When first asked about the cover yesterday in San Diego, Senator Obama is said to have shrugged incredulously, saying, quote, "I have no response to that." Later, his spokesman put out a statement, quote, "The New Yorker may think, as one of their staff explained to us, that their cover is a satirical lampoon of the caricature Senator Obama's right-wing critics have tried to create, but most readers will see it as tasteless and offensive, and we agree." Even Senator McCain agrees. At least he agrees that Obama's supporters will find it offensive.
I just saw a picture of it on television. I think it's totally inappropriate. And frankly, I understand if Senator Obama and his supporters would find it offensive.
Lots to talk about with MSNBC political analyst Jonathan Alter, also a senior editor at Newsweek magazine. Hi, John.
Hi, Rachel.
So the magazine here depicts a lie about Obama because the lie is supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be funny that anybody would believe something so obviously untrue about the Obamas. So is the problem here that way too many people believe these allegations, essentially that way too many people won't get the joke?
Yeah, look, in 1925, when the New Yorker was founded, the founder, Harold Ross, specifically said to investors that the magazine was not for, quote, the little old lady in Dubuque, which was a kind of a patronizing thing to say. But the problem is there are a lot of people outside of Dubuque, really, I think about 13% of the public, that believes at least some of these lies about Senator Obama. So that when you're doing this, you know, whether it's funny or not, and reasonable people can disagree on that, it has consequences in terms of the campaign. And this is something that I think the New Yorker probably didn't think through as much as they might have. It's true that it's kind of silly to get all hot and bothered and cancel your subscription over a cartoon, as some people are doing. That's something that extremists in other countries have done about Danish cartoons. Right. We really shouldn't be doing that here. But the fact remains that it is something that goes beyond satire into the actual, you know, marrow of the campaign. Because
of that context that you're talking about, with the latest polling, as you said, showing 13% of Americans believe that Barack Obama is a Muslim. Given that has been a factor in the campaign thus far, and it will continue to be a factor in the campaign, that mistaken belief about Barack Obama, that the belief that he is a Muslim, even though he is not. Given that, do commentators and journalists and people who participate in discussions about politics have a responsibility to state clearly every time this comes up, Barack Obama is not a Muslim, it is a mistaken belief? Because presumably some percentage of people hearing these discussions, some percentage of the time, the only words that are really clicking with them are Obama and Muslim, and they're not getting the nuance.
I think you're absolutely right. You have to state that clearly every time the subject comes up, and you have to go beyond that, and you have to take all the other lies and distortions about Obama and actually take the time to refute them, which most often, you know, we kind of say, do we really need to be taking the time that we would rather use to analyzing campaign issues, just refuting lies? The answer to that question is yes. We do need to do that, and it's just part of our responsibility to what are called low information voters, to people who are not paying rapt enough attention to know that these things are are untrue. But I think it's kind of a mistake to assume that somehow what we tell them is going to be more powerful than an image.
Right.
The visuals always speak louder, and that's why this cover is a problem.
They stick with us in a way that you can't necessarily always rebut with words. Is part of the problem here execution? If it were funnier, would this not be as big of a scandal?
No, it would still be the same. I mean, I didn't think it was unfunny. They don't do ha-ha covers. They do sort of wry illustrations, which this was.
Well, how about the context of what magazine this is then? I mean, if this had been a right-wing magazine, if this had been a conservative political magazine, would the reaction be the same, even if they came up with the same argument saying this is satire?
Well, what would have happened in that case is that, the New Yorker's readership is liberal, and actually the magazine editorially has been very pro-Obama, so its readers are outraged. If this had been in a conservative magazine, the readers would have thought it was funny and they wouldn't have cared, but you still would have had the liberal outrage. I do think it gets a little tiresome to hear all the clucking all the time about how this or that thing is inappropriate in a campaign. People should ease up on that and recognize that campaigns in America have always been with all kinds of charges and countercharges and cartoons that were out of bounds. This is nothing new in American politics.
Sure, it's kind of the game that everybody has a right to say whatever they want, and everybody has a right to complain as loudly as they want about it too. That's our business, I guess. Jonathan Alter, it's nice to see you.
Thanks, Rachel.